Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Bad Blood Prediction special bonus episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. If you're watching this on free feeds, don't fret. This is just a special bonus episode. It's just more of us. The full 2+ hour episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast is still going to be available to you. It's been available to the patrons for several days now over on patreon.com/SantiZam, which is why you want to go over there. But Bad Blood, Sancho, I always ask you this question, and I'm going to ask it again. Give me a temperature level on excitement for this card.
I would say it's at a 9. It's a solid 9. For a B+ PLE, so to speak, it feels like it's an A-level PLE. It's crouching at levels, particularly with Drew and Punk. And then you add Roman and Cody Rhodes together. I'm excited, man. It's that team up that I'm excited for the most because I feel like something has to happen. There's too many ingredients for a big explosion in that fight.
It almost feels, and hang out with me here for a second. It almost feels like they're trying to build Survivor Series to have this major imploding Big Four feel, because this sort of feels like step one to something big. And when I look at the timeline of things that are left in the WWE for the rest of the year, I think Survivor Series, we're going to see something huge that starts here. Whether it could be the return of The Rock at Bad Blood, shortly after Bad Blood. All I'm saying, Sancho, is that I smell some cooking in the air. And I don't know who's cooking it, but there's a good chance that it's going to be the final boss. What do you think?
Not only that, I'm thinking so. That'd be hot. That'd be fire. But not only that, there's other types of cooking that's happening. You know, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. There could be something that's cooking in there. There's so many great feuds that could brew here. And we're not even talking about the stuff that's been happening on SmackDown and on Monday Night Raw that's been boiling over there. I'm hoping I see some spillover. Yeah, my prediction real quick is we do see Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman one more time. Something crazy. More Chicken and Peter action. Give it to me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they're really content with these mid-card feuds starting and ending and having their entire life cycle on Raw and SmackDown. And not gatekeeping or putting behind a paywall any of those aspects of those feuds that are been playing out on Raw and SmackDown.
So I kind of like that idea.
I don't think so, but would I be mad if we see them destroy another stage? I'm here for it.
Let's do it. Well, Santi, it's the predictions episode. It's our favorite type of PLE prediction. Kick us off with Bad Blood, my guy.
We are starting off with Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. And I'm starting off with this mostly because I feel like this has the lowest amount of temperature. This just doesn't feel like they've done a great job of building this, don't you think?
It feels strange because a lot of the vignettes that they've been giving Damian Priest has been all backstage, hasn't been in the ring, because every time that Damian Priest walks out to the ring, it's been for Rhea and Liv Morgan and Dom business. It's not for Finn Balor business. And Finn Balor has been this kind of running around heel. He's not been dominant. And then when he does do promo, he's always with Judgment Day, and they all have their own promos. He hasn't been standing out. So I agree with you. The temperature is low on this. But I don't know if it's because everything like Dom and Rhea and Liv have just been so dominant in that. Because when you see them, you're like, where's Rhea and Liv and Dom?
It almost feels like this is a backsplash feud of what Liv and maybe not the best choice of words, but because the stuff between Damian Priest and Finn Balor forms and happens while the Liv and Rhea stuff is happening at the same time, and the Liv Rhea Dominic stuff is significantly more interesting, which makes it so that this Damian Priest Finn Balor feud has sort of just been in the background. But to be fair, this is Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley part numero 5 at this point, right? Obviously, in terms of the matches of this feud is match 2, but they've had plenty of matches in the past. This is Damian Priest Finn Balor part 1. Maybe the intention is for this to continue to build up into something bigger, but they're doing a poor job initially at getting me excited. I look at some of the matches that have happened and some of the feuds that have started and culminated on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Let me just name you a few. Wyatt 6, American Made. I would have had this over over Damian Priest, Finn Balor on Bad Blood. The last Monster Standing, I would have had that over Damian Priest versus Finn Balor on Bad Blood. And any of the Carmelo Hayes and Andrade matches, I would have had them over Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. So that's why we're starting off with it. Give me a prediction here. Who do you got?
I don't know, man. I feel that Finn Balor had this opportunity to regain the kind of Demon Balor, the Prince Devitt type of vibes, and I'm not getting it. I'm going to have to go with Damian Priest in the setup here just to create some doubt for Rhea and Liv.
Interesting. I am actually going to go the opposite of you. I'm going to go with Finn Balor. I have a feeling that we're going to see Judgment Day on top in this show. As they continue to make this faction feel stronger, and they need to get a win back after what's been going on with them losing at Bash in Berlin. And if Damian Priest wins here, he got his vengeance. It's over, bro, because this is Damian Priest chasing vengeance against Finn Balor. And if Damian wins round 1, then it's over. And maybe it should just be over, but I have a feeling it's going to lead to something bigger as we go into Crown Jewel and Survivor Series, because November is a packed month of 2 PLEs, and Damian Priest and Finn Balor are big names, and they're going to need those names to pad out those big shows.
All rise
for the what does that song say? Is it all right
for the Outlaw?
Okay, it is the Outlaw, right? Okay, that's I've been saying that in my head, and I was like, I've never actually seen the lyrics.
Anyways.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's stay with the Judgment Day business. Let's stay in the Judgment Day clubhouse here. We got Liv Morgan going in as the Women's World Champion, defending against Rhea Ripley with Dirty Dominic Mysterio hanging above like the forbidden fruit that he is in a shark cage.
Stop it. That's not part of the card. It doesn't say in parentheses
the forbidden fruit.
Because it reminds me of Crash Bandicoot. You know, the little swamp fruit in there? That's what it reminds me of. No, it's not that. By far, I would say that this is probably the most interesting feud, probably the hottest feud of the WWE. And if it wasn't from CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, this would be in contention to be main event worthy, I think, because so much of the fallout that can happen. I mean, already SummerSlam with Dirty Dominic Mysterio turning heel, more healer, and that moment makes this moment so much hotter. And at the same time, you asked me what's the temperature gauge. This one's like at a 10 out of 10 for me, because there's so many variables that can go wrong in this, especially with Dom in a shark cage. Because if you have someone in the shark cage, they're going to have to find a way to interfere, or they're going to escape. Remember, I predict, this is a tinfoil hat prediction, folks, a famous Sancho one, is that the lights will turn off, and Dominic Mysterio would be the next target for the Wyatt Six, just to spice it up a bit, because you and I always been talking about the wrestling is cool, is that Dominic Mysterio is just a sucker for spookiness, and he'd be perfect target for the next Wyatt Six. But in terms of my vibes about this, I'm all in on this one. This one is going to be a standout match, and it could have potential to steal the night, but if it wasn't for the violent explosion that will happen versus Drew and Punk, I'm not sure, but I'm really high on this one. How about yourself there, Santi?
I'm really high on this feud as well. And mostly because they've done a great job of building this for the better part of like the entirety of 2024, it seems. It's got one of my favorite characters on TV right now, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. We love Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan has ascended herself leaps and bounds over the last couple of months as a character and as an in-ring worker, in my opinion. So to me, this is a spicy 10 out of 10 in terms of hotness level for me. I love your idea of the Wyatt Six. And there's a couple of reasons why I like it. One, this is the only October WWE main roster PLE. All right, we do have NXT Halloween Havoc. Wouldn't hate seeing the Wyatt Six at Halloween Havoc as well, but blood and in the October air, you know, in the atmosphere, I feel like it just works well for the Wyatt Six. The only reason why I might not jump at that is because I feel like that's the Mania feud. I really think that's the Mania feud. The Judgment Day Dominic Mysterio versus the Wyatt Six. They could start it now. It could just be the lights and freaking out Dominic Mysterio.
Right, exactly.
It could just be that.
Teaser, a little baby steps teaser. Yeah.
You're going with that shock. I'm going to go with a different shock. I'm going with Raquel Rodriguez making her return. I feel like if she's healthy, she's such a great asset to that women's division. She's a great, if Rhea Ripley is like at a really high acidity level, she's at a really high base level, right? She really helps balance out Rhea Ripley in this feud because right now she's so overbearingly dominant over Liv Morgan that Liv Morgan has to run away every time. It works for her character, don't get me wrong. But at some point or another, we're going to need to level out the odds so that Liv Morgan isn't running away. And it can't be Dominic Mysterio hitting Rhea Ripley. That's just not going to work. And I think that Raquel is the perfect addition to this because of their history with both tag team partners and champions recently with Liv Morgan and good buddies and hated rival of a good portion of 2023 against Rhea Ripley. I've got Raquel returning, helping Liv Morgan retain, and thus we get Diesel and Shawn Michaels.
Quick question.
Yes.
Sancho West from the Wrestling School delegation here. Santi, do you feel that the Judgment Day need a leader, even though their whole vibe is the leaderless? I just feel like that's why they're kind of in a weird spot. And you're telling me that they're going to add Raquel Rodriguez. That's just going to add another person just to cut a weird promo every now and then when they're in a group.
I mean, when I look at the group, Finn Balor would stand out as what should be the leader, but he doesn't feel like one. You know, when I think of the leader of a monstrous heel faction, I think of what should be, and again, we used this moniker before The Rock did. I want them to feel like the final boss, right? Like that's the last person left in the gauntlet for the babyface to take down. And I just don't see anyone in the Judgment Day that can play that role. I thought that Finn Balor would ascend to that role, but he just frankly hasn't. So based on the characters that we have available to us, there's no one that I think could or should be a leader of the Judgment Day. But is it hurting it that it doesn't have that? Perhaps.
Here's my prediction. I think Rhea does win here. She does overcome Liv, but Raquel does still come out and adds a little bit to that spice post-match.
Okay. All right. So kind of similar, but I have Liv Morgan winning this.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the women. Nia Jax going in as the WWE Women's Champion, defending against the number one contender, Bayley. I took the last one. I want to hear you out here.
This is the kind of ones that I've enjoyed this feud so much because it's been given enough time on SmackDown. And the reason why it's been working so well is because this has been about the title. Whereas Rhea and Liv has been more about Dominic Mysterio. Because this has been more about the title, you can see clearly where it can go. Now, I am enjoying Nia Jax's second run here in the WWE. The new things that she's doing, especially on choking out Tiffany Stratton, was kind of insane. And her in-ring work is doing so much better. Like, it's phenomenal, the stuff that she's doing. And dare I say, she's not close to her optimal self yet. She's not in her prime. I think she's scratching the surface now. She's tapping on that ceiling. The thing for me is I don't think that Bayley will overcome Nia, but my prediction is that Nia does win, but Tiffany Stratton does cash in on her. This has to be the moment. After getting choked out on SmackDown recently, that kind of reveal where she was scared and then got angry and then mad, I think Tiffany Stratton does get a successful cash in here, thus making Bad Blood really memorable for the women's division, not only following up Rhea and Liv and having their crazy shenanigans, but as a title match with a proper cash in for Money in the Bank, because we already had a failed cash in on the men's side. This one has to be successful for Tiffany Stratton.
I like that you're going with a surprise here. I'm going to go with one too. Here's the thing. All right. We like our train analogies here.
Oh, we do.
We like our train analogies. It felt for a while at the beginning of 2023 and when she was champion that Bayley was the conductor of this train. She was the one that was guiding where it was going. Now she feels like a passenger. And not only does she feel like a passenger, she feels like she's about to reach her destination, where it's time for her to step out of the train and allow for new contenders to come in. That's why I thought Naomi would have been an interesting choice here. And I say this just because, yes, Bayley is in this championship match, but she's not the focus. The focus is Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Bayley seems to be a vehicle to allow that storyline to continue and develop before our eyes. So I am going to go with Nia Jax winning here, but I'm going to let me throw a wrinkle in here of a new fighter has joined the fray.
Oh.
I think that they are debating us, as they say on the internet, and making you believe that the Tiffany Stratton cash-in is about to happen. I don't think it happens on this show. I think maybe it's about to happen, or she's thinking about happening. But I think the big surprise is the return of Charlotte in this.
Another return?
Yeah.
Two returns in
Two
one
returns
night?
in one night, man. Make Bad Blood memorable.
It is in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta. It's Charlotte country.
It's near Charlotte country, right? It is very close to Charlotte country. And I just see that cash-in happening at Survivor Series. Like, I'm married to the idea of that happening there. But Nia Jax is winning, is my prediction.
That would be hot if there was a Nia in War Games faction with Tiffany Stratton there, and all of a sudden during the match, Tiffany cashes in.
That would be something we've never seen before, right?
Yeah.
A cash-in. We almost saw it last year, if you remember. Rhea came out with the briefcase, but then Randy Orton interrupted it. So we've seen it. The playbook is there, The playbook is there. Yeah. Last year, they set the stage for it. It'd be awesome if a cash-in happened Dude, how crazy would it be? A cash-in mid-match on your teammate. Come on.
I know.
Come on. Genius.
So there's two matches happening at the same time.
Shenanigans. That'd be crazy. Let's go over to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teaming up against the Bloodline. Oof. Should this main event, Sancho?
I feel so, yes.
Okay.
And the reason why it should main event, despite not being the hottest feud, is there's too many big names involved. There's too many emerging names involved with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And we already talked about it. We already hinted at it. The final boss is looming, dude. He is looming. There are, that part in the video game where you're all of a sudden you're like finding all the power-ups and heals? Like, oh my God, I'm getting all these heals. I'm getting level up. That is the room that we're in right now, brother, with this match. And the final boss is on the other side of the door. What a better way to amplify what we're talking about, the PLE, the road to Survivor Series, than by making this an established B tier, descending to A tier, than having the presence of The Rock come in and show the world that he's still here and that Cody is still in trouble. Because Cody Rhodes is at his best when he is outnumbered and he has no one to turn to. Kevin Owens is already leaving him. We've already predicted that Randy Orton will turn on him at some point. Why not stack the odds against a Cody to make him the underdog again, to kind of revitalize his championship run as the undisputed champion by having The Rock? So yeah, it should main event for that reason.
If The Rock does appear, this has to main event. This can't open the show. You have to end with the final boss, whatever segment that is. And really, that's the only reason why I would even consider this to be main event worthy. Obviously, the names, but the names to me are outshined by how good CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre as a feud has been. But the names can't be outshined if you add The Rock. If you add the hammer on the nail of what the next story, the next step is on this Bloodline story. If they move the needle on the Bloodline story to that degree, then yeah, this should probably main event and it should close the show in that manner. If it doesn't, if it really is just a match, give me CM Punk, Drew McIntyre as the main event. Is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement. I mean, it's the name of the PLE's Bad Blood, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And we are predicting, and we're not there yet, but it's going to be a violent Hell in a Cell.
Yes. And we'll get there in a second. I'm actually going to go with a screwy finish here. I don't think that we have a definitive winner or loser. It's possible. Look, I think that this is where the Kevin Owens heel turn could happen. Maybe Randy Orton ends up being the swerve. Randy Orton turns heel before Kevin Owens because they're really doing like the look at Kevin. Well, right, Randy's just sort of, it could be one of the two. Maybe it's both of them. So I think it goes either one of two ways. Kevin Owens / Randy Orton comes out to help balance out the odds against the Tongans, and they take out Cody Rhodes, allowing the Bloodline to pick up the pin on Cody. Or it's just a disqualification and nobody takes the pin. And I'm saying this because I don't see Roman taking the pin. And when I look at the future outlook, the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu are so important right now to what's going to happen at Survivor Series that them taking the pin here kind of makes whatever is going to happen at Survivor Series maybe feel a little bit derivative.
I feel so sorry for Cody. They go, hey, you're going to have to take the pin here, Oos.
I'm okay with Cody if he takes the pin because it's building to him versus Randy or him versus Kevin Owens again. because when I look at this, right, we have the story of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline playing out. What's Cody's story here? He actually doesn't have one here.
He finished the story already.
Yeah. Cody's story is what's going on with Randy and Kevin Owens.
Right.
So it does make sense that story plays out here in Bad Blood in some capacity for the sake of advancing the Cody Rhodes story, as the Bloodline stuff is still going on as well. So screwy finish, whether it's disqualification or Cody Rhodes takes the pin because of the heel turn of Randy and or Kevin Owens and or both, is my prediction. I took 2 predictions. I'm sorry. There's no rules. There's no rules that says I can't.
Rules when it comes to predictions. I think that my prediction is at the end of the day, the job of the WWE is to make Cody the underdog again. Make him, as they would say, the pitiful cat hanging in the tree. They have to make him show that he's all alone, and he's going to go into Survivor Series with no friends. Last year he had friends. This year he has no friends, and that's going to be the exciting thing. What does Cody Rhodes look like without his boys? And I think that's most exciting. So I think Cody does lose. I think Cody and Roman does lose here, and Cody does take the pin.
Okay. Let's move on to, on paper, without knowing what finishes are going to be, what I think should be the main event of the show. CM Punk going up against Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell.
Pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
I'm telling
that.
you, we should make a stuffed doll, a stuffy, as the kids say, with your catchphrases. You got Bloodline rules. You got so many that we could make money on.
The Santi's app teddy bear. It's gonna be Bloodline rule.
Yeah, there's so many. Comment down below with your catchphrases for Santi. But yes, the WIC, the Wrestling is Cool main event, Drew versus Punk.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in that camp as well, that it should be the main event.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously the culmination, the end of the biggest feud, I'd say, of the year post WrestleMania. We have a stipulation that is just so perfect, not just for this match, but for the branding of the show, and a stipulation that's been earned. In previous years, it's like, we got the Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. Guess we have to have a Hell in a Cell match. This isn't the case. This is an earned Hell in a Cell match. And to me, earned Hell in a Cell matches should always close the show.
Yeah, I think Punk said it best on O'Shea's new podcast, No Contest Wrestling. He said, Hell in a Cell's best when you don't need a cage for a match. You need a match for a cage. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
Like you need the cage because this match is too big.
Yes.
Too explosive.
Yes.
You shouldn't ever fill a cage with a match that just because the cage needs a match type of vibe. Does that make sense?
Oh, and we've seen that plenty of times in the 2010s with the Hell in a Cell pay-per-views. It didn't make any sense.
So before we get to predictions, Santi and I in our match club on Patreon, we've been watching a lot of Hell in a Cell, a variety of ones. And the one that stood out to me that I've rarely seen that anyone talk about is Brock versus Undertaker, Biker Taker. That one was really solid and really violent.
Was that your first time watching that one?
Yeah.
It's a gem, right? It does not get talked about enough.
They were very creative with the cage. I mean, Brock was his athleticism, and the cage was so low. And at the same time, though, Taker took some nasty bumps into that, and there was a lot of blood in that one. And the finish was great, and it was fun to watch. And Paul Heyman on the outside of the cage causing a ruckus, bleeding himself, like all that kind of stuff was so fun. And so that is what I'm trying to compare to. You could, if you want to add the AEW spin to as well as, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page and how violent that got in the cage. I don't think it'll ever get to that levels of violence, but both Drew and Punk have been talking a lot about blood, and they've been talking about a lot of that their families don't want them to be in this cage. So I'm predicting a slower pace type of match, more visceral type of match, more storytelling type of match when it comes to Punk and Drew, because they have the chops to do that and the ring psychology to do that. My prediction, as I predicted earlier before, Santi, in a previous podcast, is that AJ Lee will get involved in this match in some form or fashion, where either it's like another Beth Phoenix and Adam Copeland or Edge type of situation, is not necessarily she's going to be in peril or danger, is that Punk's going to realize that does he have to go to a certain level or depth of hell to win this match, therefore, making enemies out of everybody he's loved before? Because remember, he said he called himself, he's the devil himself, that type of vibe. Or will Drew's ultimate victory be that he's made Punk evil? Because I think that's what Drew is not fighting for.
What
the
is it,
win.
Karrion Kross?
Yeah. No, I didn't say it. I just think that Drew's ultimate victory is making Punk not this, hey guys, what a better night to be, and then whatever than Monday night, but making him Punk be this kind of guy that it's down, like is more heelish, so that Seth Rollins could come in and be the babyface in potential feud.
I love what you said. Let me simplify it down, okay?
Okay.
Punk has been behind a curtain, and the end of this feud is Drew McIntyre moving the curtain. This is the boogeyman that everyone's been talking about. This is yes, actually, this is the cancer that killed so much of AEW, right? Like let's actually pull the curtain back on this toxic CM Punk that was the talk of the town at the same time last year. This is the real Phil Brooks. This is what I've been trying to tell you guys, that he's a piece of garbage. I would love if that's how it ended, if that's how this feud ended. Because like you said, it does set up for Seth Rollins to come in and allow for this feud to flourish in a way where it isn't just like, I don't know who to cheer for because I like Punk. It could be just like, hey, Punk is just actually a trash person at the end of this feud. That'd be kind of neat.
If they want to keep CM Punk face, AJ Lee gets involved in some way. She's in the crowd. Not talking about in the ring. If they want to make him heel, it should just be between Drew and Punk. My question for you is, does Wade Barrett get involved? We kind of teased that of Wade Barrett being the only friend that Drew McIntyre has. I think that's important for Drew McIntyre's next launching point because I think this is going to be the end of Drew and Punk.
Sure.
You can't go anywhere else after this unless you're going to be like Jason X and fight in space. Like there's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so if Drew McIntyre needs to have Wade Barrett in this fight to give him another thing to jump off his vine, so to speak, to swing off of.
I think that Drew McIntyre, and I think a lot of us can agree, has been doing the best work of his career off the back of losses. Sure. And I don't want, if I do want the Wade Barrett, Drew McIntyre storyline to kick off. If it happens at Bad Blood, I don't want it to happen during the match. Here's my prediction. CM Punk wins. And if we want the Drew and Wade Barrett angle to take place, maybe we
post-show.
Not on the post show, like before the Reddit's roll, Drew McIntyre snaps, and in the snapping of the process takes out our beloved Wade Barrett,
our beloved Stu. So your prediction is CM Punk.
Yes, my prediction is CM Punk.
My prediction is CM Punk as well. This is his first feud, major feud, coming out of leaving AEW into WWE, and I think he needs as much momentum going after the top tier Seth Rollins, the Cody Rhodes, the Gunthers. All those things have to happen because if CM Punk loses here, he can't just outright challenge Gunther again. Even though that's what he needs a win to move on. Drew, you said it, can eat L's all day, and we love him no matter what because he's awesome.
He improves off every catastrophe that's happened to him, right?
He's like Venom in the symbiote.
He's a symbiote. Yeah. All right, so those are our predictions, folks.
Hey, we didn't miss LA Knight.
We didn't miss LA Knight this time around. Super quick lightning prediction. SmackDown triple threat tag match. Who wins? Go.
Oh, dude, the Tongans, baby, the Bloodline.
Yeah, I got the Bloodline too. They got to go strong into Bad Blood and going into the rest of the year. I got the Tongans as well.
Because you ain't Bloodline, you ain't nobody.
Chelsea Green Meechin, the garbage match.
Oh, Chelsea Green Meechin. Meechin has to win here.
Yes, it's Meechin. Yeah, you gotta see. You gotta see Chelsea in the garbage. You gotta see it. That's the payoff.
No matter how many times Chelsea loses, she's still winning, baby. Still winning.
All right, folks. You can watch Bad Blood with both Sancho and myself. You can find our watch party links down in the description below. More than anything, go check out the Patreon. Sancho mentioned Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, No Mercy 2002. One of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches of all time. It's up and available for you. Match with full footage, our commentary. Sancho's first time watching it. These are things that we cannot show here on YouTube. And there are nearly 100 matches already available for you. Sancho, you're doing the Royal Rumble stuff. What Rumble are you on?
We're on 1998, and that comes out every Saturday, like around 6 p.m. Central. full Royal Rumble with my watch party commentary, and then I rank and a review, and we're like rank the winners and the Rumbles themselves.
Yes, along with the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and the full 2-hour wrestling. It was supposed to be 1 hour, and then Sancho's like, no, 2 hours. And then now the people are like 3 hours. The full podcast is available over on patreon.com/SantiZap 3 days earlier than everywhere else. But if you want to watch it on free feeds, that's cool too. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Enjoy Bad Blood. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.